Hi, this is your big brother in recovery, Abraham, coming to you again with another video on recovery. We created this channel to empower, enlighten, and equip people in recovery. And I need to ask you a question. If you're getting any value out of these videos, would you continue to subscribe and add likes to the video? And by all means, please voice your comments, because we can disagree without being disagreeable. But at the end of the day, what we all have in common is addiction and recovery. Again, this is your big brother in recovery, Abraham, bringing you another educational video. And what I'd like to talk about today is something that has concerned me for some time. And I am not one to tell anyone what they need to do, because that's not what we do. As a matter of fact, our literature states that our moral code is to live and let live. But as many of you know and know me personally, this is all that I do. And I am very open about the fact that I am a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is that I haven't had the need to use any mind or mood altering substances since November 17, 1980. So this November will make 38 years. But guess what? All I'm doing is what I should have been doing prior to, because one thing's for certain, here's an Abrahamism. If you're not working on recovery, you're definitely working on relapse. So I'd like to dive straight in to what I want to talk to you about. As we've learned that the program of recovery is located in one place. I'll tell you the places that you've heard about that is not possibly located. It may possibly not be located in a room. It may possibly not be located in a sponsor. It may possibly not be located in a grand sponsor, but it is definitely located in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, since this is the methodology that we're using right now. So I'd like to draw your attention to Roman numeral page 13 in your big book. That's XIII, 1X, 3 I's. And it's forward to the first edition. So I'll give you a few minutes to get to it. And I want to draw your attention to something, because as you know, many of you know who have interacted with me and talked to me, I look at myself as an educator and not an entertainer. And what I mean by that is there are some people who could read a paragraph and regurgitate it, but it has no substance and clarity behind it. But then there are those of us who are educators who only get off on allowing you to meditate, ponder, and use and make applicable what you've learned. We explain while some people proclaim. Now, I'll let you be the deciding factor on what you need, because only you know what you need. So hopefully you got Roman numeral 13, I believe it is. And I want to draw your attention to the second paragraph from the bottom of the page. And it starts off with this: when writing or speaking publicly about alcoholism, or let's say addiction, we urge each of our fellowship to omit his personal name or her personal name, designating themselves instead as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. So the question today is, why would you want to announce what the literature is telling you to denounce? And I'll explain that to you, because one can easily get hung by their tongue by saying something that they no longer want. A very powerful speaker taught me years ago when I was entering the professional speaking arena. He shared with me, if you want a GET, you must first ASK. So therefore, I don't want to get something that I don't need. So the question is, because I ask a lot of questions, because all the answers are in the questions. The question is, why would I want to announce the mere fact that I am a grateful addict, a real alcoholic, a sophisticated dope fiend, and all those names or monikers are demeaning, when I can easily say, hi, my name is Abraham and I'm a member of whatever 12-step program. Now you can say what you want, but I personally, I'm not limited to the rooms as many as you know, because there's more than one way to recover. I've counted about 80. And who's to say who is right or wrong? But what I am here to say is you need to find what way works for you. But according to what this book says when writing or speaking publicly, I do believe when I'm in a meeting and I'm speaking, I don't need to announce myself, or this is what they're saying, as an alcoholic, a grateful alcoholic, a true alcoholic, a high-profile dope fiend, because all those names are demeaning. That's what I'm trying to get away from. In other words, that's almost, and here's an analogy, that's like trying to drive on the Dan Ryan looking completely through the rearview mirror as opposed to looking through the windshield. See, if I have repaired the wreckage of my past, I am no longer being haunted by 100 forms of fears and delusions of the past because I'm enjoying my future. See, the literature told us on page 23, therefore the main problem of the alcoholic, notice it used the word alcoholic because at that time, the person that was drinking had no idea what the solution was. So they called that person that name at that time. But guess what? There are many people who still believe once an addict, always an addict. And maybe some of you believe that. I no longer have resumed using again. And guess what? I have recovered and have been empowered to help others. That's why I decided to do this channel. That's page 132 of your big book. Look at the paragraph. But I want to stay on course here because too many people are dying prematurely. There's a difference between death and murder. Death is inevitable. None of us can stop it. But murder is premature death. And some people can hear something, take off and run with it, but like Herbert Spencer's quote at the back of page of your big book, it says that guess what? There is a principle, which is bar against all information. And that principle, as a matter of fact, I'll read it to you on page 568. There is a principle, because principles don't change. Principles are permanent. Personalities do. There is a principle which is a bar against all information, which is proof against all argument, and which cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance. And that principle is contempt, pride, or investigation. Some people quote the book but don't know how to make it applicable, make it applicable. Do me a favor. Stop calling yourself something that you're trying to be delivered from. You know, there is a biblical quotation that says, as a person thinking in their mind, so is the person. And there's another quotation that says, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if I don't want something, if I don't want to get something, I don't need to ask for what I'm trying to get away from, because guess what? What you ask for is what you get. I want to prove this point to you, and I'm going to close with this. I want you to look at step 12. Step 12, and if you don't know where it is, in your big book, it happens to be on page 59. Notice what the step says, and then we're going to look at what it doesn't say. It says, and I quote, having had a spiritual awakening, because I had an experience earlier, now I haven't awakened, I have awoken to the possibilities of what my life can hold. As a result of these steps, the process, we tried to carry this message. What's the message? we do recover. Notice what it says next. Carry the message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Notice what it doesn't say. Other alcoholics. So even it doesn't call you an alcoholic, but it is saying that I want to send you back to other brothers and sisters who have been plagued with the problem you were delivered from, to let them know that there is hope in the midst of the storm. There is triumph in their tragedy. And you know what? Why would a newcomer want to keep coming back if they don't recover? Now, I'm going to dispel another myth, because, you know, a lot of people say, Abraham, I love you, but you know what? You just used the big book. Well, where did the first person in Narcotics Anonymous recover? The NA book says it clearly. The NA book says that, guess what? We think Alcoholics Anonymous because apparently they figured out something that we hadn't figured out. But it's not a fellowship war right now. I want you to get your NA basic text, because guess what? The big book is a basic text too. It says it on the front of the book. All it is a basic textbook, a book not just to be read and regurgitated, but a book to be studied and applied to get the desired results. I want you to open up your Narcotics Anonymous blue basic textbook and look at the quote after the preface or the preface. I want to give you some time to look at it, or you can rewind the video and look for yourself. Why? Because where's the program of recovery at? In the book, not in the person, not in the entertainer, not in the grand sponsor, possibly, not even in the room. But let's read the quote. We cannot change the nature of the addict or addiction. We can help to change the old lie. What's the old lie? Once an addict, always an addict. By striving to make recovery more available, God help us to remember the difference. You know, I want to conclude with this, and I also want you to look at step 12 in your home group in NA. And this is not comparing the two, but I'm called to the ignorant, and I'll explain that to you. Ignorance has nothing to do with a lack of intelligence, because everybody, and I want to strongly emphasize everybody that views this channel is highly intelligent. But the problem is, while I'm doing these, you just may be ignorant to how to recover, because ignorance has nothing to do with intelligence, because you're highly intelligent. But ignorance has everything to do with a lack of information, which is knowledge. But understanding is merely the ability to comprehend the information, which is in the book. But wisdom is the principal thing. Wisdom is the ability to not only get the information, understand the information, but wisdom is simply what to do, or the application of the information you understand to get the results. In our way of life, guess what the results is? How to recover. Because in our business or in our lifestyle, one is too many and 1,000 isn't enough. We look at a problem as being to relapse or to resume. None of us want to resume, because we understand that a cucumber could be a pickle, but a pickle can never be a cucumber. And the best way to tell a crooked stick is to put a straight one next to it. I want to leave you with this. Look at the 12th step in your NA group or in your NA book. And guess what it says? I'll read it. It simply says, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, talking about the previous 11, we tried to carry this message, look at it, to addicts. It didn't say other addicts, to addicts. Why? Because after I went through the process, I'm no longer an addict. You know, the NA book gives a beautiful definition of an addict. And it says one that lives to use and use to live, because that person not only used drugs, but drugs used them. I haven't used drugs in over 37 and a half years, and guess what? They no longer use me, because I have recovered. And I want those of you that are listening to me, leave me a comment. Let me know how these videos are coming across to you. But before you do anything, always remember, he that doesn't read is no better than he that doesn't know how to. Read the literature, get in a good step working group that deals with the book, and find a person whose lifestyle is congruent or in alignment with the information that you're reading, and ask for help. Because if you recall some of our previous videos, the 3 most disempowering words in recovery are, I got this. And you know what I read? I read that no one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. You know what else I read in here? I read in our book, it says that there is one with all power. May you find him now. Half measures avail us nothing. This is the turning point. Today is the day that is going to be the catalyst to the rest of your life. And you know what? I'm in agreement with you that things are going to be better than they've ever been. As a matter of fact, I want you to repeat this after me. I want you to say this. Every day, in every way, I continue to get better and better. I'm no longer what I used to be. But guess what? I'm a total different person now. And guess what? I am striving for betterment. This is your big brother in recovery. Again, would you leave me some comments? And by all means, share these videos with your friends. But guess what? Don't call yourself something that you're trying to get away from. All right? I'll talk to you soon. I want to hear from you. And by all means, remember that you are better than what you've been. Talk to you soon. Bye.